Alright, so we're back to playing Steins'Gate 0. And Cat, if you keep meowing, I'm gonna throw you in the trash. I don't care at this point if I get the copyright strikes, because I know I'm gonna get them even if I don't make any money off these videos, which I keep trying to tell them, but, you know. Whatever, I'm not angry, but... I was dreaming. Daydreaming. I was aware that I was lying on a big sofa, undergoing counseling. I tried my best to stay calm and imagine what the psychologist was telling me. Red.
赤ですか。なるほど。その光の中にあなたの大切な人が立っています。その人はあなたの家族でしょうか。
No.
では友人？それとも恋人？
Lover. No, not my lover. Not even my friend.
ではどういう？
She and I are... Memories came flooding back into my mind like a geyser. Oh, this is really sad. Sorry. I killed her. It was me. It was me.
いいですか？私があなたの肩を叩きます。それを合図に意識がはっきりしてきますから。3、2、1、はい。
There was a loud sound. Then I felt an impact on my shoulders. Kurusu's suffering face disappeared instantly, and I could feel my consciousness awakening. Ugh. I stood up off the sofa. I felt dizzy and almost fell over.
大丈夫ですか？少し休んでいてください。今タオルを持ってきますから。
The psychologist left the room. I realized I was soaked with sweat. The air conditioner was working, so I could tell it wasn't from the heat. It was the first time I'd tried hypnotherapy at a mental health clinic. My body felt strangely heavy. When I got outside, it was night. It was almost December, and the wind was cold. Mayuri Shina asked me, gently. Mayuri was a high school student and my childhood friend. She'd come with me to counseling today. I told her I didn't need her to, but she'd left school early to come. All I ever did was make her worry. Around 3 months ago, my one obsession had been saving her. To me, she had always been someone I had to protect. And now she was worried about me. Well, because of my Yuri's recommendation that I'd tried counseling. Are you wondering about whether to hit Sampo or go curry for dinner? I can help you with that. Nothing more. Balled up. You can talk to me about it another time. Aw. It's not that bad, they said. I told her a small might will make her feel better. Actually, they told me I'd suffered a serious trauma. They stopped the hypnotherapy and had given me a course of counseling and drugs. Now they wanted to wait to see the results. Basically, they decided there was nothing to do but to treat my symptoms and wait for it to heal naturally. I couldn't tell if what Maho had showed me yesterday was having an effect. I underwent treatment without telling the psychologist about the time machine or the world lines or most of the things that had happened. So maybe there was no way for them to make a proper diagnosis. In any event, I decided not to think too much about the results. Hey Mayuri, you haven't eaten yet, right? Want to go get some food? I'll treat you. Akihabara, huh? The clinic was in walking distance of my house. Akihabara was much farther away. But even so, I couldn't turn down Mayuri's request. Until the events of the summer, I'd gone there almost every day. In fact, I practically lived there. Lately, I only went 3 times a week, at the absolute most. And then only to go shopping on the way home from school. We went out to the plaza in front of the station. Just like in Ikebukuro, even though it was only a month until Christmas, there were barely any decorations. I was sure the whole place would be covered in them the minute it was December 1st. Eventually, I was sure to see the maids in Santa outfits. Maids in Santa outfits passing out flyers in Akihabara, huh? Akihabara could be really weird. Aww. Ferris and Luca must have been waiting. They ran over as soon as they saw us. Aw. Ferris Nyan jumped at me without the slightest hesitation. She was a maid, and Ferris wasn't a real name. I knew her real name, but I didn't call her Ferris at all times. Even when she wasn't working, she'd get mad at me. She was never wearing the same outfit she always wore. She was wearing the same outfit she always wore. Her work clothes from her job at the maid cafe made Queen Nyan squared. Was Maid Queen going to switch to Santa outfits soon? Stop it! Everybody's looking at us. I tried to pull Ferris off me, but it wasn't working. Maybe I should steal the cat ears off her head. Right, meow. I care, and stop calling me Kyoma. I haven't co-signed that name since my I have co-signed that name to my dark past. Damn it. Ferris looked upset, but I decided to ignore her. Kyoma Hoin was a part of my past I'd sealed away. I decided to pretend he never existed. he had meddled with the forbidden invention called the time machine, and as a result the systems that ruled the world had punished him. He dashed the hopes of many, lost the life of someone he cared for, and his heart had suffered grievous wounds. He must never be awakened again. I didn't need him anymore. Well, Okabe or something. By the way, Ferris is what Mayuri calls Ferris. She claimed it was easier to pronounce or something like that. You say so. She looked unsatisfied, but she backed away. Lukako, it's been a while. Lukako smiled happily. He always looks as beautiful as a pretty girl, but he's a guy. He was a classmate of Mayuri's and could often be seen helping at the Yanabayashi shrine, where his family lived. I probably shouldn't call him Lukako. It's like I told Ferris not to call me Kyoma. He had his own name, Luka Rushibara. But calling Lukako Luka after all this time, that would be really embarrassing. No, I haven't. I've been busy with school. I had to get ready for ATF too. Even after that was done, I've been busy with Maho and Dr. Leskinen and then Amadeus. I hadn't had a chance to rest. But I avoided mentioning that to them. Oh, and I'm in a club now. Who do you guys think I am? I guess I hadn't told them then. Mayuri, I'm pretty sure I told her. As the two of them looked at me with wide eyes, I cracked a knowing smile and puffed out my chest. The tennis club. People around us all turned to stare at Ferris and Luka. Of course not. I may not look it, but I'm terrible at sports. I'm confident I'd lose to Mayuri at distance running. Well, it's a long story, but the associate professor who's my teacher at school is the tennis club's advisor, and they asked me to join. Well, I'm not done yet. The teacher's done a lot for me, so I decided to stop by. And it turns out I have a talent for tennis. Despite the fact that I'm a beginner, I beat every single one of them. Well, amazing, huh? If I had known, I would have been a pro tennis player. What's wrong, Ferris? Do you have a headache? Don't say that. I had kind of noticed, but I'm trying to avoid thinking about it. But they're all really good people. Oh, no. Actually, I barely go. matchmaking parties and stuff. Their shouts filled the whole street, and once again people turned around to stare. It's not that surprising, is it? I'm a normal college kid.
そうですよね。すみません。でも、
Luca was fidgeting like he wanted to say something.
フェイリスというものがありながら、他の女の子たちと楽しく交換。
Aww.
許せないにゃ。
Don't get the wrong idea, okay? I'm not really interested in girls. In fact, I went along with the rest of the club, but there really wasn't any place for a wannabe normal like myself. There was no way I could keep up with the conversations that the, well, normal normals had. While the other men and women were having fun, I would just kind of sit there. A matchmaking party was a challenge far beyond my capabilities. I wasn't going to tell Ferris and Luca that, though.
いいなあ。マユシーもオカリンと合コンしたいのです。
What? Mayuri wanted to do what? Is she old enough to be interested in that sort of thing?
だってみんなで楽しくパーティーするんでしょ。
Evidently not.
間違ってはいないけど、なんだか微妙にニュアンスが違う気がするにゃ。場所はラボでいいかな。ルカ君とフェリスちゃんはもちろん参加ね。あとダル君やナエちゃんやスズさんも。
Mayuri turned to me with a guilty look. Suzu, huh? Suzuha Amane, also known as John Teeter. A time traveler from the year 2036. A true warrior who was still fighting even as I was trying my best to give up. I'd barely seen her since summer. I was avoiding her. Part of the reason I'd stopped going to the lab was that she spent all her time there now. Until a month or so ago, just hearing Suzuha's name was enough to cause flashbacks. It was all I could do to endure them. After 3 months, I could finally stand to hear her name. But I didn't think I could keep it together if I met her in person. Of course, it wasn't her fault, and I wasn't blaming her. So I didn't want her to blame me. She'd never come out and say it, but when she looked at me with that razor-sharp glint in her eyes, I felt something like guilt.
あのね、みんな。
Hmm?
マユシーね、ダル君と一緒に考えてるオペレーションがあるんだ。オペレーション？
Sounded like something old me would have done.
っていうと、どんな作戦かにゃ？すずさんを笑顔にしよう大作戦。
Huh? Why was Mayuri talking about this out of the blue? No, maybe it wasn't out of the blue. She might have been thinking about it for a long time. So I decided to respond as cheerfully as I could. Tell me about it, Mayuri.
マユシーは思うんだ。すずさんって普段は怖いけど、本当はすっごく優しい人なんじゃないかなって。 ラボにいる時にね、マユシーがソファーでうとうとしちゃうといつの間にかタオルケットがかかってたりするの。すずさんに聞いてもそんなの知らないとしか言わないんだけど。
あ、僕もそういうことありました。以前お父さんに買い物を頼まれて、その帰りに荷物が重くて困っていたんです。そうしたら天音さんが通りかかって何も言わずに持ってくださったんですよ。
Huh, I had no idea.
こんなこと当たり前だから誰にも言うなって。あ、言っちゃいましたけど。
I see. In the Alpha World line, she was a cheerful girl who smiled at everyone and who loved to go mountain biking. Aww. But in this world line, she wasn't the type who smiled a lot. This was partially due to the way she'd grown up. I'd heard about it third hand from Daru, but because of the universal conscription program that started World War III, started after World War III broke out, she'd been forced to undergo military training ever since she was in middle school. And after that, she joined up with the anti-government forces and gotten caught in a terrible struggle. After that, he said, she never really smiled.
だからね、すずさんを本当の笑顔にしたいのです。
Miss Happy Suzuha and Happy Okabe. I see.
で、具体的には何をするのかにゃ？クリスマスパーティーだよ。クリスマスパーティー？
Okay, Christmas party. We all spoke out in unison, although I slightly delayed mine because I'm not speaking Japanese, I'm speaking English.
もうすぐクリスマスでしょ。すずさんね、そういうパーティーをやったことがないんだって。だからマユシーはすずさんにそれをプレゼントしようと思ってるんだ。
Ferris and Luca nodded at almost the exact same time.
その話乗ったにゃ。
僕も。
ありがとう。オカリンも参加してくれる？
Huh? Well,
ダメかな。
it's not that, it's just... I don't think Suzuha would really want me there, do you? I was never going back to the past. I still couldn't forget that look on Suzuha's face when I told her that. It was an expression filled with anger and despair. She must have felt like her last, most desperate hope was crumbling away right in front of her eyes. The words she'd said to me then were still sharp thorns lodged in my heart. Suzuha doesn't like me, you know.
マユシーはそうは思わないよ。すずさんはね、オカリンを怒っちゃったこと後悔してるんじゃないかな。その気持ちを素直に言えないんだと思うのです。
Really?
きっとそうだよ。
I couldn't turn her down after Mayuri said that. Fine, I'll think about it.
ところで岡部さん。
There was a bit of hesitation in Luca's voice.
診察はどうでしたか？
Evidently, Luca had heard about my counseling from Mayuri. Maybe he'd wanted to see me because he was worried about how it went. I guess I'm making Lukako and Ferris worry, too. In this world line, they hadn't joined the lab, but even so, they were still dear friends. I never tried hypnotherapy before. It was interesting. I never thought it would work on me, so that was a big surprise. The anime cuts off this section, or at least from what I saw of Steins'Gate 0, it doesn't talk about this part. It just jumps right into them meeting after the Amadeus part. Perfectly.
そういうルカニャンも催眠術とかすぐにかかりそうだにゃ。
そんな。
Yeah, I'm sure. Luca would believe anything you told him. Anyway, there was no point in standing around forever. I was getting hungry, and it was time to find some place to eat. Hey guys, what do you want to eat? My treat. We decided to head toward Yodobashi. There were a lot of restaurants there, so it was perfect.
やったにゃ。超なじゃなくてホカリン太っ腹にゃん。
ありがとうございます。
何食べようかな。唐揚げかな。
ジューシー唐揚げ？
マユシはそればっかりにゃ。
I walked behind the three of them, and I thought to myself, what would it be like if Kurisu were here? I tried my hardest for the past few months not to think about her, but was it because of my experience yesterday that I did anyway? The expressions and little mannerisms I'd seen yesterday. The voice, the way she walked. I remembered. I remember my conversation with her.
岡部倫太郎さん。はじめまして、牧瀬クリスです。どうぞよろしく。
I couldn't respond at all. Something felt slightly off about the way Kurisu moved on the screen. But it was really slight. I'd get used to it soon. More importantly, the voice and the way she spoke were exactly like the real Kurisu. I almost cried. It was all I could do to stop from breaking down. I actually almost did too. So, coincidence? I think not.
先輩、そちらは深夜というわけではないですよね。
The camera on the PC switched from me to Mako. Oh, to Maho, excuse me. I thought that was a K for a second.
違うけれどなぜ？
お二人とももしかして眠いのではないかと。
Was she talking about the fact that I didn't respond to her introduction?
私はさっきまで寝ていたけれど、今はもうしゃっきり目が覚めているわ。
だらしないのは相変わらずですね。
失礼なことを言わないで。
では先輩、もう一つ質問しても？
何？
岡部倫太郎さんとはどういう関係ですか？
この前の ATF セミナーに参加してくれた学生よ。なかなか研究熱心だと思ったから連れてきたの。
Maho decided not to tell Amadeus that I was a friend of Kurisu's before she died. Why, I wonder? Did she not want Amadeus to find out? Or was I supposed to tell her myself?
先輩にそう言われるなんて大したものですね。
The Kurisu on the screen turned to me and smiled. Calm down.
岡部さん、専攻はやはり脳科学ですか？
It's... The words got stuck in my throat. I said calm down. You know, this is just a program. Her words, her appearance, even the conversation she's having with you right now, they're all artificial. even though I knew that, I still couldn't speak. I had no idea what to say. And more than that, the words "nice to meet you" hit me harder than I thought they would. This wasn't the Kurisu I'd spent those 3 weeks with. Maho had told me this ahead of time, and I thought I understood it, but hearing it for myself hurt more than I imagined. I regretted not taking my anxiety meds, but it was too late now. My heart rate soared and my breathing became irregular. My head was spinning around the corners and my vision was beginning to dim. At some point, my lips had gone totally dry.
どうかしました？岡部さん。
Kurisu sounded worried. That voice software must be pretty good if it could handle nuances like that.
彼の専攻は脳科学ではないわ。だけど私たちの研究にとても興味があるんですって。
そうなんですか。
デスキネン教授も気に入ってるみたいだし、いずれは私の助手にでもしてやろうかと思っているところよ。
What? My head snapped up in surprise at Maho's bizarre statement. Me? Maho's assistant? And I'd go to Victor Quandre University?
あら、お気に召さない？
It's not whether I like it or not.
ま、冗談だけどね。
Oh. A joke?
もしかして本気にした？
I did not. I wasn't going to tell her that I almost did.
そう。でも、もっともっと勉強してくれれば、あながち冗談じゃなくなるかもしれないわよ。
Even if it wasn't, I'd rather be Dr. Leskinen's assistant. This was my way of getting back at her.
教授の助手って思っている以上に大変よ。あの方は本当に子供だから。
As she spoke, she quietly came over next to me and tapped me on the arm a few times. I see, so that was it. She was making a joke to try and calm me down. Sorry, thanks.
何のことかしら？
I didn't think subtlety was her thing. Maybe I was wrong?
先輩、ちょっと。
Kurisu beckoned to Maho from within the screen in a very human manner.
何？
もうちょっとこっち。スピーカーに寄ってください。
Maho moved her ear closer to the speaker. I was just thinking about how weird it was when... Maho suddenly turned bright red and shouted at the screen.
そんなわけないでしょ。何を言ってるのあなた。
そんなに照れなくても。
照れてるわけじゃないわ。とにかくおかしなことを言うのはやめて。
そうですか？
Aw, she looks just like her. She's so adorable. What are you talking about? It was obvious that Kurisu had whispered something to Maho. What did she say? Maho glanced at me. And for some reason she blushed and turned away. Ah, I see. From the way Maho was acting and what I knew about Kurisu, there was only one possibility. Goddamn mainstream women. I whispered a name I'd often teased Kurisu with and suddenly felt a lot better. She must have said something like, "You two make a good couple," or "You finally found a man, huh?" The way she looked at a boy and girl holding a friendly conversation and immediately assumed they were dating was just like the Kurisu I knew. Oh, this actually hurts my heart a little bit. Sheesh, what a system. It didn't need to be that true to her personality, did it? I chuckled. Do you think this Kurisu also browses at channel and Maho and the professor aren't looking too? Nah, knowing her, she's probably commenting. I remember Kurisu once browsed that channel on the Future Gadget Laboratory's computer when she knew nobody else was around. Christina, what are you doing when you should have been working? Fret not, Christina. Or should I say, at Chandler Kurisu? I knew it already, indeed. I'd known for a long time. You reek of at Chandler. That's not what I'm talking about at all. I'm talking about your soul's power level. But it's cute how you try to hide it at Chandler Kurisu. Your soul's power level, huh? My silly remarks seem to have a much deeper meaning now. Was the girl in front of me one day going to, as Dr. Leskinen had said, become a real artificial soul? When that happened, what were we supposed to call a soul that exists in this world after the body was gone? Not dead or alive, but something in between. This wasn't science anymore. It was philosophy, or maybe religion.
バカな話はここまでにしましょう。岡部さんだってこんな中身のないことを聞きたくて来たわけではないわ。
そうやってごまかすところがますます怪しいですね。
ウイルスをぶち込むわよ。
嘘です。もう言いません。
Kurisu quickly bowed her head. I bet back when Kurisu was still alive, she had conversations like this with Maho every day. I'm sure Dr. Leskinen had a lot of fun watching them. Damn it, I messed that one up again. It was actually kind of cute.
お騒がせしてごめんなさい、岡部さん。彼女と何か話してみる？
Oh. Maho offered me the seat in front of the PC. Kurisu's face was on the monitor right in front of me. When our eyes met, she smiled a little. I didn't know she reacted like this to people when she first met them. But my meeting with Kurisu went about as badly as it possibly could have. I realized that her prickly attitude toward me could have been unusual for her.
どんなことでも聞いてください。可能な範囲でお答えしますから。
Yeah. This wasn't good. I was remembering every moment I'd ever spent with Kurisu. I couldn't think of what to say. And then the words that came out of my mouth were, "Is it possible to create a time machine?" That was what I'd once argued with Kurisu on another world line. In the end, I'd lost the argument completely.
はい？
え？
タイムマシーンですか？
何の話を始めるのかと思ったら、いきなり何？
It's just a test. I wanted to see if she was capable of thought experiments.
どう、クリス？
そうですね。結論から言ってしまうと、タイムマシーンは可能ではない。けれど、不可能とまでは言い切れないといったところでしょうか。
What? That wasn't what she said.
最初に結論を言ってしまうと、タイムマシーンなんていうのはバカらしい代物だということです。
That's what Kurisu had said in the Alpha World line. I remembered that well. Sorry. I think the very idea of a time machine is idiotic. I remember at our old debate and decided to repeat what Kurisu had said then.
そう決めつけるのは早計ですよ。
You think so? It's true that scientists all around the world have proposed time travel theories. There are 11 major ones and countless minor ones, but none of them are any more than hypotheses. And some of them directly contradict one another. For example, there's the cosmic string theory and wormhole theory, where time travel is possible as a thought experiment, but no one has a clue where you would go to get cosmic strings or exotic matter. In other words, it's not realistic. This was also something that Kurisu had told me in the Alpha World line. But the Kurisu in the screen was unmoved.
それは科学者がまだ重大な何かを発見できていないからでしょうね。
Then you think it's possible to create a time machine?
不可能とまでは。
Oh, she did the face!
そう言いました。
How cute she is! Oh my god, I love her. She's great. Yeah. Her opinion was slightly different. Was this because I was in the Beta World line? Or perhaps... Hey, Hiyajo. She knows she's made from a copy of the original's memories, right?
もちろん。
Then, I can't think of a good example, but... Is it like identical twins? You can't tell them apart at birth, but as they grow, differences start to form, or something like that?
それについてはまだ検証中だけれど、蓄積されていく記憶が異なれば、当然元の人間とは違うものになっていくと思うわ。私と教授はそう考えている。
I see. It was then that I heard the door on the other side of the partition slam shut.
教授かしら。
あの大きな足音はそうじゃないでしょうか。
I could definitely hear somebody stomping around outside. And then after a heavy knock, the door to the booth flung open.
Rintaro!
Lintalo? The professor opened his arms as wide as he came inside and grabbed my hand and began to wave it around. I hadn't realized that he was this friendly. He seemed to think he was giving me a handshake, but it felt like I was being worked over by a pro wrestler.
Hey boy, what's up?
Huh? I'm fine, thanks. And you?
岡部さん、ひどい英語ですね。
Shut up, Christina!
クリスティーナ？
Ugh. Oh no, I was so focused on the professor that I'd used my old nickname for her. It's nothing. Don't worry about it.
気になります。なんで私がクリスティーナなんですか？
I told you it's nothing.
なんでもない割には動揺してますよね。
I said shut up, Christine... Kurisu. Kurisu and Maho both seemed lost in thought.
クリスティーナって呼んでいたのね。
You too, just drop it. I didn't want any more questions about this. Since the professor was here, I decided to ask more about how Amadeus's memories worked. Professor, is it possible for Amadeus's memories to be externally modified? But the professor wasn't listening to my question. He seemed to be frantically searching his pockets for something. Come to think of it, I didn't see the translator device on his ear. He must have been looking for it, which meant odds were good he didn't hear my question.
私の記憶の改ざんですか？理論上は可能です。
Kurisu herself answered in the professor's place.
例えば、私が自分の名前をクリスティーナであると思い込み、そう仕向けることもできるでしょう。
Oh.
ただ、普通のデータと違い、記憶データはとても複雑です。今のところ、改ざんに成功した例はないと認識しています。仮に改ざんに成功した場合でも、私がそれに気づいて自分で修復してしまうでしょう。 私は私以外アクセス不可の領域にログを取っていますから。つまり秘密の日記
Aww.
ですね。その日記と現在の記憶との間に不自然な齟齬があれば、
We're gonna
私
take a
は
small
高い
break.
確率で疑問を抱きます。